right, this is my first vlog attempt at to showing you guys, and I've created so much content over 10 years. I've never actually shown any part of me working out at all, raw and uncut. Part of the reason I've been encouraged by quite a few clients over, I want to see what you do and the intensity associated with your workout. Now, I've been traveling full time for 10 years with my family. I get into the gym when I can. I train calisthenics, body weight, TRX, exercise while when we're traveling abroad, and when I'm traveling in adventure sporting, I go into my taper. I'm an old meathead. I've been traveling, working out since I was in sixth grade. And I can honestly tell you, since I was in sixth grade, I've probably never missed more than a week of working out. And that's saying something considering I closed my brick and mortar in 2017 and have traveled full time. Now, sometimes in a weight room, I'm happen to be house sitting for a client and friend. And so I'm showing you some raw footage of me training and what that looks like from a volume and also the insights. I'm an entrepreneur working with clients. I get a lot of insights into what I'm doing and what I help people. Resistance training has always been kind of this North Star. As long as I can get my workout, I feel amazing. When it doesn't, man, I feel like crap. Even now, I sometimes skip and my family's out skiing. I'm here working out with clients. I work digitally on that Mac behind me, breath work, working out, injury prevention, all of that stuff. If I don't take care of myself, I feel like garbage. So let's get into it. It's a secondary push day. Now, my push days look a little different. I'm functionally mobile, no aches and pains. I am recovering. I had some dental problems that manifested themselves into a little bit of impingement in my shoulder. So one of the biggest things that I'm overcoming right now is I lost strength in my whole left side. Believe it or not, I was dealing with that for some time. My lats, you could usually do 20 dead hang pull-ups. Right before I got those teeth fixed, I could do 4 because of the asymmetry associated. So I'm in the process of rebuilding that, but hopefully I can give you some insights. All right, so for push day, I always start off with some posterior deltoids to make sure I'm anchoring my shoulder blade so that rear delt pull. I usually mix that in, activating the mid upper back, gets me that anchoring that I need, gets my T spine, my thoracic spine pinched, get some dislocates in between, improve mobility. As an aging lifter, I think I spend more time actually mobilizing than I tend to do with the lifts. But when I go, I go. People often ask, when can you lift? Could you lift the most? I've been able to maintain my strength about what it was in my 30s, which was the peak, simply by understanding my body, mind muscle connection, and its sheer joy for working out. I always hit some dislocates before and a push up variation to bring some heat. As raw as this is, we're here house sitting for some friends. I'm not gonna edit out dog sounds like I used to try to get perfect sound. You're just getting me working out at a pace, usually I hit 3 angles on this because it gets me that nice squeeze, wakes up the mid traps, lower traps, posterior delt. Followed Louis Simmons for a long time and I used that conjugate method, but the challenge with that is that I'm a natural athlete, right? Never have used any substances, never will. So I'm interested in longevity. I usually like to do my push-ups just to get some blood flow. I used to travel all the time. And the way I maintain my bench when I'm not, maintain my bench when I'm not in the gym, to throw kids on the back. I have 5 kids, and all increasing size. To me, I always wanted to maintain my strength even where I travel to have images of particularly my youngest, Tatiana, who's 14 now. Throw her on my back at 130 pounds. You do a weighted push up with 130 pounds sitting on your back, you'll maintain your bench press. You'll maintain your bench press. And so I'm still interested in functionality and training jiu-jitsu for 14 years. Sometimes it's a little bit tough to stay motivated for anything, but in the end, it always comes down to just feeling it. Part of the warm-up is to warm up. It gives me an evaluation process. Let's figure out where my strength is. It's a Friday. As a general rule, when I had my brick and mortar, which I owned for 20 years, I could gauge, I could feel weaker by Friday. It's just the overtraining, the work week, working with people, working with kids. It's challenging. It's actually harder, I think, to stay fit and stay motivated when you're in this industry. All right, it's 3 sets. We're warmed up. Training here, what do I got? I got a Smith rack. We are going to bench Smith rack. This isn't, is it only using Smith rack? No, I love using free weights. I love using dumbbells. I use with what I have to maximize my results. I'm probably in the midst of a cut phase. Generally in the winter, I'll bulk up probably 10 to 15 pounds. I love it because my deadlift goes up, my squats go up. And then as we get into spring, man, it's getting tougher to cut it, but I do cut it. And I love the fact that my joints heal. The layoffs from jiu-jitsu sometimes when I'm not training are a blessing. At 50, training for 14 years, sometimes those little purposeful breaks are amazing to let joints heal. Let's bench. Only a piece of equipment I ever wear consistently are my wrist wraps. I will use straps, especially since I'm rehabbing a little bit some of the muscles that have gotten weak. I'll use some straps from time to time to help the lats. Belt, not with any regularity. Wear my Chucks, my Chuck tees. You know, I think one of the greatest gifts that I had is that I fell in love with heavy weight training and resistance training that's tough. All right, Smith rack. Let's take a look. Let's get warmed up. Like I said, I take quite a bit of time to warm up. But once I get going, we get going. I love a 10-8-6, 12-10-8, kind of building up to that peak at that 8. Let's get rolling. Plate. I have no freaking idea what people actually enjoy watching on this stuff. But here we go. Like to set up if it is Smith rack because of the natural curvature of the bar that you don't have when you naturally bench. There's a little bit of a parabola, a little bit of a curve. When we incline Smith rack, I like to use the incline to kind of simulate. Using the 1-1 to warm up gives me a chance to like wiggle my shoulders, make those adjustments. Advanced lifters, someone you know that they're really working on their anchoring right from the get-go. Figure it out. First work set. Since I'm highly involved in, or I really want to work for strength and hypertrophy, and I always have. The hypertrophy has carried me through, guys. I do, at this point, I'm real careful with singles, doubles, triples. I prefer to do my work through reps. That's not to say that not every once in a while I won't train heavier. But in the end, my light set to squats are 2.25. So I think to myself, I'm about 180 pounds right now. So that's well above weight. And I just work on Tom Platt style, for example. And here we're at 205. Again, I'm not the strongest guy. What I can tell you is that over time, you really start to stand out. So if you're an aging lifter, just stay with it. Or if you're just starting, you can build up to your strength. All right, next set. Effort is effort. It's closer to almost failure. Just depends on how I feel. I've never actually created content like this, so just feeling this out. Also giving you no performance. I care less about performance. I'm showing up for people all the time. Sometimes the hardest part of this job is adapting. You show up as a coach or trainer for clients. It can be tough because they're low. You don't want to show up like, man, my life is amazing. You got to temper that a little bit. It can be a little tough, especially after, gosh, I've been starting training people since I was 19. And who knows if anyone watches or cares about this video. Might be the only one. Let's get some flies. Couldn't stand recording without some music, so I always train with music. So I'm gonna do this. We're gonna have to figure out how to make the sound come through. All right, flies to me. Once I get my bench in, it gives me a barometer, right? If there's anything I can convey to you is that once you track enough, I've been tracking since I was in middle school, you can start to go, oh, it's this kind of a day. Now that doesn't mean you can't break through, but I know if I get under 2.25 on a bench on a Friday and I get it 4 times, I shift to a plan. If I get it 6 times, I shift to a plan. If I get in 10 or more, I know I'm feeling spot on. My nervous system is ready to go. Let's get some. As it stands today, I got about 5. So I know I'm a little wiped. I'm also kind of pissed. End of a long work week. Sometimes you're creating content all week. You're looking for leads. That's the reality of being in this business. It's super competitive. But the problem is, like, just get tired of freaking being, well, everyone is the same. Getting some dumbbells here. Flies to me are all about tech, especially since the pecs, they're fastic, right? They get tight. The resilience and the elasticity, the ability to isolate. I saw it in my clients as I was working with clients in person and they were already in their 40s and 50s. I was like, oh, they just don't have that flexibility or they have a tendency to get tight. So when I hit flies, I always tend to go a little bit lighter and just work on range of motion and isolation and feel. I have a natural curvature. Here we go. Go by feel, strive for the pump. Man, if you're 50 and can still get good pumps off any gear, it says ooze about hydration, blood flow, mind muscle connection. In general, my favorite is straight sets. Focus on what you're doing. Now, I have a lot of clients work efficiently. I'll mix in 2 movements, but particularly with this setup, I don't know how long I was going to talk. I figured I'd do it this way. So did 3 sets of incline after a warm up, or 3 sets of flies. Incline flies, 45 degrees, my favorite for that. Kind of feel some tightness in the pec, a little bit of movement in between. We'll get 3 sets of 10 to 12 here. Flies, a couple tips on the flies that I always thought we always used to talk about. We'd stick our fingers up in here and really work on like squeezing that area. A lot of the data says that we really have to get that nice stretch at the bottom, and you can do partials here. So you'll see me statically kind of really try to pause down at the bottom. Today is a 1 and 1 day, meaning I go 1 second down, 1 second up, no real pauses at the bottom, but I'll try to show off a little bit of that. Natural curvature, press it out. If I'm working for hypertrophy, which is generally the rule, 30 to 45 seconds in between. A little natural windedness. Obviously, leg work is a little more intense. If I'm doing 20 plus reps on my squats, sometimes I'll take a little time. Things feel a little creaky. I'll take a few more sets. Not uncommon to take, bench press. I'll take 3 to 6 warm up sets at 135. Turn this music down. So if I actually gain momentum on this, guys, and this is something you want or looking for, a little more raw questions, the shit that's on my mind, let me know in the comments. All right, lateral raises are next. Not uncommon for me to throw in, like, it's not just a chest shoulder, it's not just chest tricep day or chest day. I've always added a little bit more delts where I can. In large part, especially got a little atrophy after that pinched nerve in my neck. So we're hitting some laterals. In between laterals, we'll probably do a little standing tricep. 3 on, 10 to 12. Just a calm little bit of superset back and forth. And minimal recovery. Now that I'm into it, I'm pretty warm. I want to get a pump. I want to get a pump going, get focused. In general, I always prefer a bar over a rope. Gives me that connection. Also focuses on, to me, I tend to focus on getting my numbers, right? Even if it's through reps. I want to see even if 50, my numbers go up or maintain, never going backwards. Now, that being said, like I said, Monday to Friday, I just know my expectations are different. How I peak, when I peak, unlinear periodization. Always like nice control on my laterals. I do make them heavier. So if I actually make this a routine, you'll see me do all sorts of laterals. Outer delts for me, usually been kind of a weak point. So sometimes do them heavier, more heaves. My progressive pull day, shout out Marty Gallagher. Progressive pulls, I can say 100% give me that grappling, a huge grappling power. To be able to train at my age, it's highly linked to that, my ability to pull weight off the ground. and get all those pulls, which I'll show at some point if this becomes a habit. All right, back to triceps. Full range, moderate range, it's all the same. They'll get all weirded out like they're like ass to grass. They all are benefits, and to me, variety is an amazing thing. So whether I'm doing a lateral here or out to the side, which I like, real upright, or heavy or light, it takes the same movement. You fall in love with it. For you, Coach Kenny, I've been busting my butt for a long time to show you what I actually do at pace. Standing tricep, always want to break 90. Always think of it as a good opportunity to really work on anchoring, scap anchoring. You have any stress in your life and you're a dude, those bullies want to take over, so we naturally want to get in there. All right, done with that. All right, so moving on now, kind of feeling like I need to get a little bit of isolated shoulders, some front delt work. I do tend to train shoulders, not only a little bit on my chest day, but also on my isolated shoulder day. Just something I want to do. If I drive my OHP, my overhead press, my bench goes up, and that's part of the reason I train my shoulders so much. Also, just because I have a tendency to be thick this way, and I always want to work on my width. Work with maces all the time, really for mobilization. So I do a little behind the back swing. There's one of many. Didn't know how the mic was going to work with this. This is what we're doing right here. Just getting open up the shoulder line. Works the fascia, encourages it. You know, a lot of the problems I see with a lot of my clients are fascial problems, muscles that just don't calm the frick down. You know, so if you're a surfer, a grappler, anything, you're training your body to be tight within certain ranges of motion. It's got to be your job to make it so those muscles know they don't need to stay like that. So a lot of what I do from a fascial standpoint, I might record some of my fascial workouts are for that. Let's get to some overhead dumbbell press. Now, sometimes I'm on the road, do tons of push-ups, tons of pull-ups, travel to TRX, exercise ball, that mace. I'll probably take these 50-pounders with me. I left these with my client for a while, just to give me some resistance. You gotta just make do with what you have. If you love the gym, surely that works. But tell you what, man, when I get to a barbell over the last couple of weeks that we've been here, I can really jump in because I'm so ready to go and lift some iron. All right, let's go. Oh yeah, I'm happy with that. Just recovering the shoulders. Man, everyone can bench over 2.25, but you start getting a plate on a military press, which I love to do, or you're pressing overhead. That's where we start to separate people who just train every once in a while from people who train often. You can see it in their paraspinals. In the end, I think weight training is a vehicle for you enjoying your life. I happen to just, this is part of enjoying my life. Felt a whole lot of shame around it being so important. So much so that I would never show something like this, but damn, things go wrong in the world. You go to lift some iron, for some reason, it just feels so much better. I think it's partially because anger, like it helps a vehicle. I've always had a ton of anger. This helps to flow it. Let's go set 2. If you're not a little bit winded, man, I just don't feel like a lot of that depends on what you need out of the workout. Sometimes I'll do mobilization day, straight sets, take a little longer, stretch or something between if I feel like I need it. You just happen to hit me on a day where I'm hitting a little hypertrophy, nice pace, got time to say. All right, here we go. Last set. I'm real happy with how these are starting to come up. Normally I'd be able to do a little bit more than this. Just rehabbing that left side. Support helps for isolation. No, this is not the only way I do it. A lot of people get bashing on partial ranges of motion. What that means, look, in my mind, if you're getting the results, you got to know your body. You see images of Jay Cutler, partial rep, not a rep completed, but I'm like, he obviously knew how to connect with his mind and his muscle. Now, if you're competing, obviously you need to lock out. My overhead press feels good right now, today, at that, right about here, not that full touch. Also helps me feel isolated. So, moral is, let's go by feel. How's it feel? You feel isolated. I ask my clients all the time, where do you feel it? How's it feel? Good, flushed, pumped. That's what we're looking for. All right, we're gonna move into a little military press with the barbell, but like I said, I always throw in a little bit of legs in part because when I travel, that's usually one of the things that's tougher to get in is heavy leg training. If you train legs, they have a tendency, I'm just gonna get some warm-up sets on my reverse lunge, which that's the leg movement I'm gonna pick for today. Legs have always been one of my strong points. My thighs will blow up pretty quick, so I don't need as much. But the other thing I notice is that the rest of my body will respond well. Oh, and then the other point is I hate the amount of deep leg soreness that you get when you go into a full layoff. Oh, that's the worst. And if I do a little legs every day, I work out, which is generally 4 to 5 times a week, resistance training, weight training. If I get a little legs every time with one leg emphasis day, every 2 to 3 weeks, I can avoid that sort of peg leg walk, like soreness, which I absolutely hate and love. But remember, I want to be functional and ready to play at any point in our travel. So tomorrow I'll probably be skiing. So I don't want too much leg soreness, but to me, this is more of my priority. I can have fun going pretty damn slow. There are a few places that I really love to kick butt in my life. That's on the mats or in the weight room. And so I prefer to save it for those things and enjoy other things like hiking, biking. As a matter of fact, I rarely tell my family how bad things hurt from a workout. Just they don't hold it against me like, oh, you put it all out there for your workout. Yeah, so I prefer that. All right, we'll get a couple more warm-up sets on lunges, and we'll set up the barbell for some military. All right, we're warm. Setting up our military press. Again, a little more functional strength. You can get a lot more isolation out of dumbbell press. But A standing military press or standing overhead barbell has always been a staple for me. If I'm moving people, I'm always moving people in front of my center mass. So the standing overhead press is great for me. I do teach it. I do teach it light. I do teach it behind the neck, believe it or not, contrary to what mixed data says. Behind the neck press is amazing for hitting certain parts of the deltoid. Just going with quarters today, this first video. For me, my goal is always to be overhead pressing, standing overhead pressing beyond body weight. I usually feel good and strong in there. Doesn't necessarily always mean lean. This is probably the thickest you'll see me if I keep doing these. So finishing off, last two movements is standing military press and then some reverse lunges. All right, let's get some. It's feeling good. I'm happy with how that's starting to come back. Normally I do about a plate, 135 per side. Since my little bit of impingement, my left shoulder, got some weakness. Quarters feels great. I do have to say this. I used to carry a lot of demons when you work out. And I used to do that a lot. All my anger put into it. Man, these days, I do use that from time to time. But I got to tell you, gratitude at 50 to be able to move some iron. Jump into just about any sport and try it. No problem. I can credit that to my dedication to working out. Let's get some lunges. Easy day. We'll do 3 sets of those. Finish off a Friday. Got my cardio this morning. Feeling pretty good. Got clients this evening. 1 gram per pound of body weight. Protein coming at me. I think I'm right now floating. It's about 2. About 100. It's a good day. Enjoy your training, y'all. We'll see you next time.